Mr. Mashinsky has been charged for acts and events as to which he had no knowledge, formed no criminal intent, and at times even instructed the opposite. Hey, what's going on, guys? Aaron here. Welcome to the video. So let's dive into Alex Mashinsky's defense. So I made some notes, then I'll go to the actual document. But essentially, he's not saying that the things that the prosecutors say that happened didn't happen, but essentially Alex is saying that he is not the full one to blame here, that there are other employees that were doing things behind his back, that were lying to him. These employees had really bad intent, that were doing things that Alex said not to do, but all the blame fell on Alex Mashinsky. And basically, Alex trusted these people, and they were either stabbing him in the back or lying to his face, and he wants to make sure that these other witnesses can be deposed, and that should, in this document, which I'll show in just a moment, that should help his case. That should help him not get the max penalty of 115 years in prison. The whole point of this document is to preserve the testimony of 6 material witnesses who reside outside of the United States. And this document gives a lot of proof about why each of these witnesses are material and how they are incredibly important and vital for a fair trial and for ultimately Alex Mashinsky's defense. The evidence will show that Mr. Mashinsky did not intend to defraud or harm anyone, and that he had a good faith basis for his video statements talking about the AMAs. Mr. Mashinsky relied on info provided to him by the experienced team of Celsius professionals around him, and he trusted that those professionals were following his instructions. They say here that Mashinsky never intended to manipulate the price of Cell token, and that his conduct was consistent with written procedures that were reviewed and approved by Celsius's legal, risk, and financial professionals. But Mr. Mashinsky's team ignored or disregarded Mashinsky's explicit instructions to generate revenue by consistently selling Cell tokens into the market, and instead purchased excess Cell tokens. The lawyers say that Mr. Mashinsky has been charged for acts and events as to which he had no knowledge, formed no criminal intent, and at times even instructed the opposite. And ultimately, Mashinsky should be granted the opportunity to question the individuals whose conduct has been laid at his feet. And this is a big deal because the sentencing guidelines call for Alex to receive a sentence of 115 years in prison. So what this document does is it goes through all of the different charges against Alex Mashinsky, breaks it down as to what actually happened in the defense's opinion, and then they go into all of the witnesses that can provide testimony that will agree and support the defense's position. So they go over the manipulation that Alex is charged for, the manipulation of Cell token, how he was buying Cell token to artificially inflate the price of Cell token. They give a summary of the different fraud charges, most of it having to do with Cell token. Then we have the ICO saying that they raised more money than they did. They go over the misrepresentations, the whole we give 80% of its revenue back to customers. They talk about the misrepresentation that Celsius only does market neutral strategies and they don't take directional bets, which we found out that Celsius did. Also, the whole Celsius does not offer under-collateralized loans to counterparties. We know that that wasn't true either. Also, Celsius saying they never had an institutional borrower default on a loan. That was also incorrect as well. And then they cover the whole damn the torpedoes full speed ahead, which was a newsletter/blog post. And what Mashinsky wants to do, or wants permission to do, is to take the depositions of 5 relevant witnesses who are outside the subpoena power of the court, and to subpoena 1 U.S. citizen who currently resides in Israel. We have Roni Cohen-Pavan first. So right here, Roni Cohen-Pavan, he has already been charged with a lot. Securities fraud, market manipulation, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud. And here, the defense is giving proof as to why Roni should be deposed, because he is a material witness on the manipulation charges, talking about the purchasing and selling of Cell token. He also supposedly disregarded explicit instructions from Alex Mashinsky in certain circumstances. So sticking with Roni here, they're giving a lot of reasons as to, again, why his testimony is incredibly important and why it'll support Alex's defense. So what's crazy, and I didn't know this until reading, is that Roni and another employee, Mr. Noy, had been working with an outside vendor to collect for the SEC examples of allegedly inaccurate statements by Alex instead of actually telling Alex Mashinsky to correct some of his statements. So essentially blaming Roney for not correcting Alex on his AMAs. And there's a lot of very incriminating quotes here talking about, despite Alex's instruction to sell Cell Token, apparently Roney decided to do other things rather than listening to Alex Mashinsky. So next we have Daniel Leon. He was part of a small group of employees who disregarded Alex's instructions to sell Cell Token throughout 2021. On the fraud charges, Mr. Leon was one of 2 board members who voted to return 117 million Cell Tokens to the Treasury in April 2020. He also had knowledge of unauthorized directional trading and substantial losses which were not disclosed to Alex Mashinsky. And he was the one that drafted the whole Damn the Torpedoes blog post that was part of the incriminating information against Alex Mashinsky. And one quote that stood out is that Roney said to Daniel Leon, "I've never met such a stupid person in my life. He's a stupid a-hole. I've never seen anything like it." And Mr. Leon said, agree, I said it a long time ago. So they're building a case as to why Alex was more or less a victim here and how these other employees thought he was stupid and were not disclosing information to him and were maybe trying to get him in trouble and make him the scapegoat. So we'll see. So Mashinsky's defense with the whole market manipulation charges is that he lacked criminal intent and acted in good faith, relying on the info that was reported to him and not reported to him by others. And the defense is going to try to prove that Mashinsky had no intent, and he never had any intent to artificially inflate the price of Cell Token. And Mashinsky was just following, again, other people's instructions, like the lawyers and the individuals in the risk, legal, and all the financial professionals, including outside counsel and a U.S. law firm. And this would lead to him not having any criminal intent. And the defense is going to show that 5 of the 6 witnesses proposed in this motion secretly began purchasing Cell Token in a manner that was contrary to Alex's instructions. For the fraud charges, the defense wants to show that Alex never knowingly misrepresented any facts to his customers, and he never intended to defraud anybody. So they talk about the AMAs that happened every week, those videos, and there were corrective edits that were almost always made behind Alex Mashinsky's back and without his knowledge. And apparently there was miscommunication regarding what they were editing. Was Alex saying something that was incorrect? And they weren't always telling him that information. So just to finish this off, they have a couple other people that they want to have as witnesses. Johann Treutler, he is important regarding the Cell Token purchases that happened throughout the years. Apparently, Treutler's testimony should also confirm that, as a result of his secret purchases, what he did report to Mr. Mashinsky was wildly inaccurate. So that is part of the case they are building. Alex acted on the information that was provided to him, and he had no criminal intent at all. Here, Mr. Treutler didn't tell Mashinsky that Celsius had taken directional bets. So it's like, how could Mashinsky have known that what he was saying was inaccurate? So again, that is the case that they're building here. And also they're saying that Alex had no knowledge of the months of unauthorized Cell Token purchases on FTX because these purchases were deliberately concealed from Alex Mashinsky. We have another individual, Yaron Shalem, talking about unauthorized Cell Token purchases, and a couple other individuals as well. So let me just scroll down here to the bottom, read what they want, and then I'll end the video here. So Mr. Mashinsky respectfully requests that the court grant his motion to obtain the testimony of the 6 named witnesses. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any experience with this kind of stuff, but in my opinion, it sounds like this makes sense. So part of the issue is that, again, 5 of the 6 people don't live in the US. So the court needs to do things regarding like international law to get other people to comply. And that's, I believe, the basis of this motion, is that since they're out of the court's jurisdiction, it has to be some higher level up decision. So at the end of the day, I am curious to see what happens with this trial. I really hope, actually, that they can get these people to have to testify, because from what I read in this document, it seems like possibly a lot of the decisions that were made and the information that people had maybe weren't totally passed on to Mashinsky, and he was acting without all the information, and he was the face of Celsius, right? So naturally, he is getting essentially all, other than Roney, he's getting like all of the indictments and possibly going to jail for over 100 years. So we'll see what happens, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Feel free to share what's on your mind here. And that's basically it. So I hope you guys are doing well. Till next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.